Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Big Idea Wednesday. That's what it is today. My name's Tom Coffee. This is the Coffee Nuance Show. We're streaming live on YouTube and on Rumble, rumble.com/Coffee and Nuance. Coffee and Nuance. You think I can remember the name of my own channel? /live. Bookmark it. And all the cool kids are hitting like. At least that's what I hear. I gotta move over here. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you gotta welcome to your Wednesday reality check. Today we're delving into the deep, murky waters of probability neglect. Not exactly the kind of topic that has you canceling plans to stay in, but trust me, it's a game changer. Probability neglect is like when the media hypes up a political debate for weeks, and it turns out to be more of a polite disagreement between distant relatives than the UFC fight they were promoting. We've all been there, right? We're more concerned about getting struck by lightning while microwaving leftovers than we are about, say, overcooking dinner. Let's be real. Media doesn't help either. Breaking news, and then there's some ominous voice. The unknown dangers of your toaster. Yeah. But seriously, when was the last time your toaster launched a coup d'etat? If your toaster still making decent toast, you're good. So here's the caffeinated enlightenment here. It's time to kick probability neglect to the curb. Let's regain, I can read, some perspective. Instead of stressing about unlikely scenarios, let's focus on actual stuff, like whether your phone battery will survive the day. So here's the pact, my friends. Let's cut the theatrics, both in our mind and in the media. Embrace real risks. The ones as common as bumper-to-bumper traffic during rush hour, and around here that starts about 3 o'clock. You might just find that life's a whole lot saner when you're not losing sleep over phantom menaces, right? Remember, folks, life's too short to let improbable scenarios and media melodramas run the show. Go out there, be rational, and remember, the odds of your morning coffee spilling and giving you third-degree burns are slim to none. My name's Tom Coffee. This is the Coffee Nuance Show. Best censored commentary news show live right now. Flame on. Yeah, so we're talking about probability neglect. I know it's not the sexiest topic, but it is an interesting idea. And it's when people focus so much on how bad or severe an event could be that they forget to consider how likely that that thing is to happen. In other words, they neglect the probability or chance of an event. So here's some examples. One example is a health screening worry, right? Imagine someone who avoids getting regular checkups because they're terrified of finding out they have a serious illness. They neglect the probability that most people that go get screened actually turn out to be perfectly healthy. Their fear of severe health diagnosis makes them ignore the low chance of it happening. And how about investing, right? Investing in stocks. An individual might hesitate to invest in the stock market because they're worried about the possibility of losing all their money. They neglect the fact that historically, the stock market tends to grow over the long term. They focus on severe outcome, losing everything, while ignoring the high probability of overall gains. And here's one. Fear of shark attacks, right? Some people are so afraid to swim in the ocean due to their fear of a shark attack. They neglect the fact that shark attacks are extremely rare, and the odds of encountering a shark while swimming are minimal. Their fear of extreme event overshadows the low probability of it happening. And another one would be hesitation to start a business. Now, someone might dream of starting their own business, but they hesitate because they fear failure and bankruptcy. They neglect the fact that many businesses succeed, and the probability of achieving at least a little level of success is higher than catastrophic failure. Their focus on the worst-case scenario stops them pursuing their entrepreneurial dreams. Okay, so in all these examples, probability neglect occurs when people magnify a potential severity or impact of an event like a severe illness, losing all their money, shark attack, business failure, and they downplay or ignore the likelihood or probability of it happening. Understanding and considering both aspects, probability and potential consequences, is essential for making an informed decision and managing fears and anxieties effectively. So I'll even throw this out for me, right? I wanted to start a channel, like this channel. I wanted to start this channel for years before I did. For years, I was like, I want to start a channel and start sharing my thoughts with the world, because that's what everybody needs to hear. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And it took me years to actually do it. And then once I did, I was like, oh, I'm so glad I did this. Now, I'm not saying that this channel is an overall success, right? But I'm really happy that I did it. And I really wish that I would have started earlier than I did. And that does come down to probability neglect. You know, we neglect the actual probability of things. That's something that humans are not good at. We suck at odds. We really do. And so here's a couple things that you can do to get better at this. Just start saying what the odds of something happening. You know, it's like you're going to hop in your car and you're going to drive somewhere, and you can say, well, the odds of me getting a parking spot in the front row, 10%. And then just keep track and see how you do. Over time, you will get better at predicting things, and then hopefully you'll be better at predicting things in your own life that will keep you from doing what you really, really want to do. And I just want to throw this out as a side note. If there's anyone that would like to start a channel like mine, right, you can contact me, and I will give you any tips, or I have years of experience that I can share with you. Hit me up, send me a message on Twitter, or you know, in the comments or whatever. My email is the same name as this channel, so you can figure it out. But hit me up, because I would love to encourage you, if this is something that you would like to try. Don't let the probability that it's going to be a failure stop you from doing it. Okay? Just go ahead. What the hell? As far as I know, we got one shot at this. Life we got one shot at. So if you want to give it a try, I say go for it. And if I can help you in any way, you let me know, because I'd like to do that. Anyway, we got a good show today. Got just a couple of stories to get to. The first one, we're traveling to the other side of the planet. You know, folks, this Azerbaijan-Armenia conflict is like that on-again, off-again relationship everyone's had. They fight, they break up, they say they want peace, but they keep posting passive-aggressive comments on each other's social media profiles. I'd say it's like Ross and Rachel, because I can't think of anything more recent than the 90s. But in the comments, let me know if you got a better reference that I could have made in my little haha joke introing this story. But here we go. Azerbaijan's military... Damn it. There we go. Azerbaijan, that's the one on top. Their military operation in Nagorno-Karabakh has raised the risk of conflict with Armenia. The international community, including the US and EU, condemns the attacks and urges a return to diplomacy. Azerbaijan reports military gains, while Karabakh reports casualties. Armenia seeks international assistance, because of course they do, criticizing Russia's role. Uh-oh. Oh no. What the hell is happening? The U.S. is engaging in crisis diplomacy, and France calls for a UN Security Council meeting. Turkey supports Azerbaijan. Karabakh officials seek recognition of their independence. This situation threatens regional stability and has complex geopolitical implications, because it always does. So, you know where Azerbaijan is? It's, you know, over there somewhere. Actually, my folks went there, I don't know, a couple years ago. Went to Baku. Met some cool people there. I've looked it up on my, I'm always looking things up online on my future travel plans. And I'm like, oh, this looks like a great place to go. Maybe not right now, but it is on the list. Yeah, we got a conflict going over there. And of course, Russia's backing one team. We're backing the other team. And oh boy, I hope this doesn't turn into something bigger. But it could. It could. I don't know enough about this conflict. Just read about it last night, but I wanted to at least alert you to this because maybe, hopefully not, we'll be hearing more about this in the future. But next up, I have some news that definitely affects me. Oh, folks, the FDA, they rejected a needle-free so hard to say, epinephrine nasal spray, Neffy, despite a positive recommendation. I guess they're saying, sorry, you can't have your cake and eat it too, or in this case, you can't have your EpiPen and not stab yourself with it. It's like the FDA is the ultimate gatekeeper saying, nope, we don't care if you're allergic to peanuts or bees. No easy way out for you. So here's the story. The FDA rejected Neffy, a needle-free epinephrine, I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. I always say that wrong, nasal spray, despite positive advisory committee recommendation. Concerns centered on insufficient clinical data, particularly in anaphylaxis cases. ARS Pharmaceutical plans to appeal and intends to resubmit the application in 2024, hoping to provide a more user-friendly option for severe allergic reactions. Now, this is a big deal to me because I am allergic to wasps. It's a tough word to say, wasps. And if I were to gather more, I would have a picture of my hand when I was stung and it swelled up to the size of a catcher's mitt. It's really scary. So I have these EpiPens. You know the EpiPen. You get it through your insurance, but I think they're like $600. It's ridiculous. And if you are out hiking or something and you get stung by wasps, for me, there's lots of things that people can go into anaphylaxis shock, right? Then if you have your EpiPen, you just, stab it in your thigh. It's a shot of adrenaline or whatever, and it saves your life. I was really hoping for this Neffy, this little nasal inhaler, because it would be great. The problem with EpiPens is technically, right, they're supposed to be refrigerated, right? So I don't know if that means they lose all of their potency or whatever. But I mean, if you have one, you throw it in your backpack, you're going on a hike, it's a good thing to have with you, save your life. But if it has to be refrigerated, right? If it's supposed to be kept cool, it's going to go bad. It just is. So I was really hoping that they would have an alternative to it. But, the ultimate gatekeeper, the FDA, says not quite yet. Not quite yet, because the FDA says we would never, ever, ever put anything to market before it's been thoroughly vetted and thoroughly tested, right? Because that's how the FDA operates, right? Anyway, last up, we got some good news today. Short show. But we got some good news, so let's get to it right now. Folks, they say this stolen Van Gogh painting was like a hot potato in the criminal world. Nobody wanted to touch it. I mean, it's like trying to fence a Picasso at a police auction. You might as well be wearing a "Please Arrest Me" t-shirt. Yeah, So here's the story, and this is actually a follow-up to a story that I did years ago. Yeah, I covered this story years ago. In 2020, a valuable early Van Gogh painting was stolen during a museum heist, but the thief was caught, but the painting remained missing. Recently, private art detective Arthur Brand, no relation to Russell, helped return the painting to the Groninger Museum after an anonymous person left it on his doorstep in an IKEA bag. Whoa. The painting, an 1884 work titled The Parsonage Garden at Noonan in Spring, is one of Van Gogh's early pieces. DNA evidence identified the thief, but nobody would sell the painting due to the legal risks. Arthur Brand, he's known as the Indiana Jones of the art world, facilitated the painting's safe return. It will undergo scientific examination to assess its condition. So this is really cool. I didn't realize how small it was. Shows you how easy it would be to steal. What they did, I believe, if memory serves correct, they just smashed the door. This was during lockdowns, right? Which would have been the perfect time to do an art heist. I would have loved to have done a big art heist during the lockdowns, but I had no crew. And you got to have a crew, right? to do your big art heist. So I didn't have a thief crew. So perhaps I'll get ready for that the next time we have a lockdown. You know, I can be part of a big art heist, and talking about it right now is just my way of saying I would never talk about it if I were actually going to steal a bunch of Van Goghs. Yeah. Anyway, but what he did, they just smashed the door. It was like the door had glass in it. They smashed it, they ran in, they grabbed it, and they ran out. The alarms went off and everything, but it was just a smash and grab. And it's not that big, so it would be pretty easy to get away. But yeah, it's been returned, Van Gogh. And by the way, we're speaking English. We just say Van Gogh, and a lot of people in Europe, they say Van Gogh. I actually looked up how to say his name, how he would say his name, and it was so difficult to say. I'm not, Han Gogh. I don't know. Can't even say it like that, but we don't have to say it like that. We can, Van Gogh, perfectly acceptable. Van Gogh is what a lot of people say in Europe. Either one is just fine for pronunciations. Because we're speaking English, right? Anyway, I'm surprised someone returned it. I mean, I understand that you can't sell it, but it'd still be pretty cool to have a Van Gogh. I don't know. Weird. There might be something more to this story that we may learn in the future, but that's all I have for you today. Stick around for the after show. I'm going to go through all of your comments and all that, and I will be back on Friday. It's a Fact Check Friday, and I'll be back with a really good fact check for you. So until then, peace. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Clear, 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 clear. There we go. There we go. Look at all those awesome chats on Rumble. Come on, Rumble. Guess I can just... No chats on Rumble. We'll just turn it off. No, there we go. Anyway, thanks for sticking around. Natasha says, my old Mustang was featured on 60 Minutes or such show, which focused on how they tended to explode gas all over the driver when rear-ended. And Lucid says, your Mustang's a celebrity. Do you still have the Mustang? Man, I loved Mustangs back in the day. In high school, my friend Derek had a 1964 and a half Mustang. That was an odd thing that they actually had a 64.5, and that's what he had. I think it was his dad's, but that's what he drove us to soccer practice in. That was pretty cool. It was like a green metal flake, black leather interior. It was a great car, man. My mom wanted to sell it, but then that would just put the buyer in danger. I kept the car for another 10 to 15 years. Oh, very cool. Lots of folks, let's see here. Lots of folks neglected the possibility of that a certain medical thing was relatively unsafe, considering that it was pretty much untested and that the stories of anyone having issues with it were deleted. Yeah, that happens a lot. That happens a lot. It's sad if you let the EpiPen expire and use it. Will it have a DMT style experience? I don't know. I actually have a couple expired EpiPens. I've never used an EpiPen. I've had them used on me, you know, in the hospital. But I've never actually used the EpiPen. I know how to use it. It's not hard. You just slam it into your thigh. But it you know, then it shoots out a needle and injects you with, you know, that. All right. OX_00 over on Rumble. You got a crew with your viewers, Van Gogh. We are ready for Flu Part 2. Well, that's good to hear. I thought I got... How? Clear, clear, clear. I still have text on my screen. It's not... What the heck is going on? I'll have to figure that out. Anyway, well, that's good to know. OX_00. I'll contact you in private message. We can set up the Art Heist crew. If there's another lockdown, we can set that up. That would be good. I'm good at planning. I'm not really good at you know, scaling walls, and I'm a little too big to climb through air conditioning ducts. So we're gonna have to get some smaller people to do that. But yeah. Something that unique would be next to impossible defense, except to very specific clientele. Well, actually, I did some research in this before about Art Heist. That's part of being a man, right? I don't know if it's 100% of men, but we all think about a big heist, right? That's part of being a man. You just think about a heist. A lot of times, they don't do this to sell. They will have something like this for insurance for themselves, right? So if you get caught doing something, right, then you can say, well, sure, you can try me for this, but I might know where a stolen Van Gogh is. And if you can give me some leniency on my sentencing, or maybe just let me off the hook, I could alert you to this stolen Van Gogh. So that's one reason that you could have like a big art piece like that. Another one is in the criminal underground. They can use it to trade with each other. So big drug dealers or something like that, Pablo Escobar, right, may take an art piece in exchange for, you know, pallets of cocaine or something. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to sell it at, you know, Sotheby's or whatever, auction house. But it is very helpful to have one of these famous paintings because it can get you out of a trouble if you get caught in the future. It's a good insurance policy, if you will. Although, to be clear, I'm not suggesting that anyone go out and steal valuable art pieces. Wink, wink. There are essential oils that counteract inflammation, and Melissa oil works as well as an antihistamine. That's interesting. I've never heard of Melissa oil, but I will put that on the list of things that I might check out sometime. The DMT style experience. That'd be interesting. I've never tried DMT. I'm not really jonesing for it. I'm not saying that I wouldn't try it someday, but it's not really calling to me. But who knows? Sounds like Klingon. Yeah. For a joke, you ought to look up how they say Van Gogh in Dutch. Actually, they say it a little bit differently in the village where he was born, and so they actually the name is actually pronounced a little bit differently in his hometown than in most of the Netherlands. So, yeah. Let's see. If you can say Van Gogh correctly, you will then feel the need to spit. Kind of feels that way. Kind of feels that way. My Mustang was a 66, had it for 28 years. Oh, that must have been a beautiful car. Beautiful car. Art sales have always been a big money laundering racket. Indeed, and there's a lot of there is a lot of money laundering in the art world, and but that's probably for another video. It's a little complicated. I've seen some explanations of it that are overly simplified, but perhaps I can explain that sometime, how you can use modern art as a money laundering thing. But I'm sure nobody watching my show would ever be into anything illegal, so you probably aren't interested in that. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. I'll be back on Friday. It is a Fact Check Friday. And yeah, I hope you have an awesome day. Until then, peace.